Aloha, everyone. Welcome to Java. This is for Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. Thank you all so much for joining again. So, for our markets, we are in high risk territory. We've got the MMRI is just below 283. We're watching that dollar index still high, which would be putting pressure on equities, also with the 10-year yield above the 4.34. So, these are both high risk territories. We've got, surprisingly, actually, the VIX volatility index has dropped. So, yesterday we watched stocks kind of take another dip until the end of the day, where it started with a recovery. So, the markets are just trying to price in what's going on today. It is Fed Day, where we will see Powell on the podium this afternoon. So, everyone kind of in a hold pattern until they see what they say. So we're going to keep our eyes. Also, movers would be gold and also Bitcoin. So keep an eye on that. So on the calendar, really the big ones are the United Auto Workers strike, still in the crosshairs because they're still under negotiations, and that could kind of spread. I do expect that they will take care of that. Probably by the end of the week, they'll have a negotiation. And the other story is the possible government shutdown over further spending. So they always have this kind of drama play out, and then they decide that they do need to spend more money. Of course, they need to inflate more, put more into the economy, more into the war machine, more towards Ukraine and everything else that is not voted for. So we'll watch that. With banks and inflation, we had this come out. Treasury yields easing from 16-year highs. And oil kind of had a little bit of a drop, but it will continue to increase on supply issues. So everybody pretty much holding their breath, waiting on the Fed to see what they're going to do for future rate hikes. They're saying they will just pause for now, which looks like the likely thing for them to do. We'll see. So I would have been wrong about that quarter point hike, at least for now. We'll see what they do in November. And this one, so this is what I've been saying for some time now. What Jerome Powell says actually matters more than what the Fed does as far as hikes. So if they say that we're going to expect this or it's something, they kind of talk the market into what it is that they're going to do. So no shocks, and they kind of move it the way that they want to with their language. So with that and the spending in mind, we've got the US national debt hitting an all-time high, $33 trillion. As if that's not very much. I remember just speaking about a trillion not long ago. So now we're already up to 33. It's crazy. Okay, so on oil, and this is less in the United States, although across the US they are watching gas prices rise. Germans will be facing higher gas bills this winter. So they had a sales tax that they had kind of put on hold for a while to kind of help with inflation. Well, this winter they're talking about reinstalling that, and I think it's poor timing because they're going right into winter. So it's a bold move, and we're going to see how that plays out for them. I wish them all luck. So, moving on, more stories about gas and oil on the other side. China will also be raising their price of gasoline and diesel. However, the difference is that they produce, and they have asked their three leading oil companies to maintain their oil production and to facilitate transportation so that they can ensure stable supplies. Not only that, but we also know that China is doing direct trade with Russia, and Russia in turn is benefiting from the global diesel shortage. So, the big winners in this, Russia and China and those that play along with them, which includes Saudi. And we've got another story also with Iran. So moving on with this. Okay, we've got real estate. The market just finally starting to pull back. 30 years actually over 7.3 across the board. I took these numbers and then they came out with the updates. So retail and inflation in the United States. So everyone's kind of been hit. The businesses are taking a major hit. So the behemoths, the larger retailers, Walmart, Best Buy, and Amazon and Target, are all going to start pushing for holidays shopping early. starting as early as October 1st. They used to wait until Black Friday, which is the day after Thanksgiving, the end of November. So they're starting almost 2 months early. That's how bad it is. So we'll see if that can boost their retail sales, but consumers just aren't spending like they used to. So I don't know that that's going to help. So we've got in France, France seems to be the trouble child lately. France workers are calling a strike ahead of the release of the iPhone 15. So if you remember, they just released that there are going to be holds on the new iPhone because of the frequencies that it's emitting, but they're just calling a strike. So a little bit more, this is the story that I wanted to get to under trade wars. So Russia and Iran are working on their relations. And what does Iran have aside from major resources are oil. So this is the newest level that they're going to, and these are a couple of stories that have been running in the backside for the past month or so. Russia and Iran are increasing use of their own currencies in trade. So they're trading directly oil, gold, and other commodities. And the Russian bank just opened in Iran. So they're kind of moving their economies closer together. And this is part of the whole BRICS versus the Western uh, G7, G20 deals that are going on. So a couple more stories in trade. Specifically, Huawei, which is the Chinese companies, they're now making surveillance chips off of these microchips that they are doing, the smaller ones, and they're finding new ways to use them. So now they're using them in surveillance. And of course, this story, the US has no evidence that they can mass produce these advanced smartphones or that they can benefit from these. And they're kind of hiding their head in the sand. I think that's a mistake. So right now, if you're still with me, thank you kindly for that. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button if you haven't, and there's anything you like in here, I would truly appreciate that. It does help. So I would like to go into the lava updates for today, and I think this is reaching a critical position. So I am kind of expecting getting a little bit of hate on this position. However, I am going to talk about this anyway. Italy has a small island. It's been overrun this past week. The total population prior to this week was only 6,000. In this number, they've had over 7,000 migrants arrive in 48 hours, 2 days. So they are being invaded, literally. And what is going on here, Ursula von der Leyen, came down from the EU talking to Meloni, who is the Prime Minister of Italy, saying they had a plan because right now they are feeding these migrants every day. And my problem with this is if you look in the photos and look this up for yourself, the greater numbers, it's all military aged men. These are not women and children. And they're all coming into the island. So at any rate, going back to von der Leyen, she said that they would basically have this plan to where they would funnel them out of Italy and up into the European Union. So then we get this story today, France again, not welcoming migrants. So basically, they're going to blockade them out. And this kind of goes in with the whole Africa thing that they're revolting against France as well. Meloni called out France for basically slave labor going on in the mines that France has been benefiting from. So this is kind of they don't say it in these stories specifically, but a tit for tat, trying to make Italy suffer with these. And it basically is a full-scale invasion. And I know you can have your own opinion on this, but this is just mine because looking at who's migrating and what's going on here, it is a serious issue. So keep an eye on this. And with that, I would like to wish you a green trading day, just a wonderful day in general. Thank you kindly for supporting. And until I see you again, my friends, stay free.